Hello, I'm Malcolm West, and this is Project Management Basics, everything you need to make your project a success. In this session, episode 1, we're going to be overviewing the program and looking at your project. So project management is a very complex area. It includes lots of different aspects of general management, plus some very specific things related to delivering projects and perhaps programs and portfolios as well. We think we can break that down into the things that are going to give you the best outcomes, the best benefit, the best enhancement of your project in these 10 areas that we've got here. And this program is going to be practical. It's going to have minimal jargon. It's going to include some free tools, so we are going to give you and show you how to use the tools that you can use to deliver your project around documentation and process management, plans, risk, issue, change management, cost management, even, etc. And these are going to typically be 10-minute sessions. So this is going to be a simple, quick program to help you understand how to deliver your project. You can look at these sessions one at a time if you want to, or you can just go through them in series. So who am I to be telling you about this? Well, I've been involved in projects for 25 years as a team member, as a project manager myself, as a project director responsible for a team of people delivering projects, and as a customer of projects. For the last 20 years I've been helping others improve their projects. So early in my career at AEA Technology, I was involved in running a corporate centre of excellence. As part of that, we developed a scale methodology to be appropriate for our small projects all the way through to very large infrastructure projects. And to help people progress through that via training programs and competence frameworks to build up the skills and techniques and experience that they needed to be able to deliver those projects. That was very successful. It did a lot for the organisation in terms of improving its projects, and it also won the APM's Someone to Finiston Award in 1999 for adding to the art and science of project management. Since then, in Project in a Box, we've been providing, me and my colleagues, tools for people to help them improve their projects and deliver their processes and methodology and reporting and all the aspects of how they communicate and manage their projects. We've been helping people set up their PMOs built around those tools, helping people develop their methodologies and understanding what works well for them in their organisation, consulting, training and helping implementation, mentoring people as they deliver. So all of that gives us a pretty good understanding of, how projects work in different organisations, how that varies from very small projects to very large projects in all sorts of different organisations, public sector, private sector, third sector, in all sorts of geographic locations as well and different cultural backgrounds. And it's from this understanding that we've picked out these areas of biggest bang for your buck in terms of the simple things that you can do that can give you the most value on the project you're trying to deliver. So let's have a look at your project then. Your boss has just come up to you and said, hey, I'd like you to do this project for me, and that sounds great. But there are some immediate things you should be thinking about. First is just a quick check, is it a project? We're going to look at these sort of checklist checkboxes and a number of times through these sessions. So the first one is it a project? Lots of people will say there are lots of different aspects to making up a project. I like to think about these three primary ones. Delivering change. Is the project changing something? It's creating something new. It's changing something from state A to state B. It's about change. Is it unique? It's never been done exactly the same as this before. So we might be building a new type of car. It's not building the same car 1,000 times. That's a product. It's about building a new variation of that car, and that's going to be a unique activity that's never been done before, and therefore it's a project. Of course, projects could become products later potentially. And then temporary. So the people and resources for this project are going to be assembled, and they're going to deliver the project, and then they're going to be disassembled at the end. This isn't some ongoing change to the organizational structure. This is about a temporary organization to do something. If you've got those things, you've got a project. Great, let's continue. If you haven't got a project, you might need to go away and think about this in a slightly different way. So the next question you should be thinking about asking your boss while you've got his ear immediately, and then scribbling down the answers, are what, why, when and who. So again, check box, what is required? What is this project trying to achieve? How much does your boss understand about it? The person asking you. You don't necessarily expect to get everything in that first conversation, but the sort of feeling you'll get from them will be enough to give you a warm feeling about the project you're being asked to do, or a not very warm feeling about the project you're being asked to do. So what is required? What are we actually trying to achieve? Why is it required? Why does the organisation need it doing? Is it a regulatory driver? So it's something that absolutely must happen, otherwise we have to cease business type activity, or we might be prosecuted, something like that. Is it a cost saving activity? Are we doing it to generate money? Is it brand and reputational improvement? Lots of different aspects to that, and that will help you really understand about the context of the project. When is it required? Is there a hard deadline by when it's got to be done, or is it just to be done at the most economic timescale possible? And who will be involved? So who are the key technical resources, the specialists that I need to be involved in, and also who's going to be owning this project from the organisational level? Am I going to have the backing to be able to get the things that I need to be able to deliver the project? So those are some important questions to be asking. We're going to introduce an additional concept here, which is the project management triangle: cost, time and quality, which will help us just think a little bit about how the project is panning out. So if you haven't seen this before, this is about constraints on the project. So we can have our project very quickly if we want to, that's time, or very slowly. We can have it cost-wise very expensive or very cheap, and quality-wise we can have it very good quality or very poor quality. And in practice you can't usually get all three of these things maximized. You can get something poor quality and you can have it very cost effectively and very quickly, but if you want good quality and good cost, it's probably going to take longer to do. So you're going to two out of those three things. In practice you usually can get this triangle optimized at a point where you're happy with, and if you plan your project well, then you'll have managed everybody's expectations and they know they're going to get it in 20 weeks for £100,000, and the quality or in fact the quantity or scope of what you're going to get is going to be fixed. Now that sounds great, and if you manage to deliver that, you'll be delivering your project as everybody's expecting. But things go wrong, and sometimes somebody says, well actually you've got less budget, or we need it quicker. Well, in that case some of the other things are going to have to give. You can't, the rule of constraints is you can't change all the three things and have them as you want them. Context is very important. It's always worth thinking about the context of these things. We've asked some sort of context questions already, but is this project going to be standalone, and or is it forming part of a larger program? And those sorts of things will help us understand how we're going to be interacting with the people around us. So do we have a mandate? You know, our boss has just explained what he wants us to do. Has he actually given us some sort of approval to proceed? In some organisations you need a job number, you might need a letter from the customer, you might need certain pieces of evidence that you can demonstrate that you are running a project and you're supposed to be doing what you're doing. So has the organisation empowered you to do what you're supposed to be doing? If it's just a conversation, I would suggest writing it up and presenting it back to your boss and just saying, thank you for the conversation earlier, this is what I understand I'm supposed to be doing, you know, could you please confirm that's what you expected? And that, you know, is then the thing you can wave around and say, hey look, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Now if it's a very small simple project, you might just be told to go off and do it. You need to buy a new printer, so that might be a project, and it just needs to be done. If it's a bigger project than that, we want to improve the marketing of our organisation. Some of that could be improving the print materials, therefore buying a new printer. Some of it could be changing our web marketing campaigns or doing some TV adverts or something like that. And that's a bigger project, and therefore we might be mandated not to do the whole project, but just to go off and investigate what we're supposed to be doing. So researching around what exactly it is we're going to be delivering, and that might be narrowing down some of the price or quality questions that have come up in our early conversations. So obtaining a mandate that you can prove is very important. What are your next steps going to be? Well, your next step is definitely not diving straight into delivery. The past is littered with examples of people who were given a project and just flew off and try to do it straight away. It's not the best. You might get lucky, you might get lucky, but experience says that it's not the best way to be going. What you should be doing is going through a period of research. That period might be quite short if it's a simple small project. It might be quite large if it's a very big complex project, but you do need to do some sort of research. The first thing you should be doing is understanding what experience the organisation has, or outside the organisation there might be, for projects of this type. Find somebody else who has delivered a similar type of project. They've designed a different sort of car, even they've designed a motorbike, but they've designed something or developed or built something which is similar to what you're doing, or they've worked for the same customer, or they've worked on a very quick project or a very cheap project. And just to understand the learning experience that they've had, the problems they had, the opportunities they found, what worked well, what didn't work well. Those things will help you from making the same mistakes again, or for seeing the opportunities early enough to take advantage of them again. Of course, there's a whole lot about the technical delivery of the project. The technology we're going to use, the techniques we're going to use, the tools we're going to need to be involved in, the timings. Can this things be done before certain dates, after certain dates, before or after other activities in the project, etc. Perhaps before or after other projects within the wider program. But you need to understand all that sort of thing as well before you can really get to grips with your planning. What resources do you A, need, or B, will have available, and your ability to get hold of those resources, to secure them. So once you understand some of those technology and tools and techniques and timings issues, you can go off and have some early conversations and understand about the availability within your organisation of key skills. The regulations and expectations around your project. So it may be a regulated environment you're operating in, so you need to understand what standards and laws you might have to comply with. And if you don't know, you don't have to be an expert in those things, but you need to find somebody who is, so you can go and ask them about those. That may also be internal project type regulations or processes or policies that your organisation is running, standards they may need you to meet in terms of your management of projects, and also expectations. These things are not always fully documented, but you can ask people what their expectations are about how frequently you're going to be telling them about what's going on, and all those sorts of things, reporting, etc. Then we've got threats and opportunities. There will be many threats that you will face as you go through your project, risks, challenges, things being not there when you thought they were going to be there, etc., and how you're going to deal with those, and understanding early what you think those might be based on this research that you're doing, and also opportunities. Where threats occur, opportunities also occur. Sometimes you might be able to get a piece of equipment earlier that might be able to enable you to deliver a bit earlier than you thought before. So as well as not getting something on time, making you deliver late. So it's worth thinking about those things in the round. People can become very closed off to opportunities. They think projects is about getting your way through in some sort of medieval fight to the end, and it's all about avoiding threats. There's a flip side, and then many times there will be opportunities as well, and you don't want to be closed off to the possibility of those, because you'll miss out on things. Okay, so what are our next steps? We're going to be running session 2, which is going to be around starting up your project. So moving on from, hey, I've got a project, to right, what do I need to do to really get it started? And we're going to be setting up the free tools. So I mentioned 2 free tools earlier. We have Community Edition, which is our free tool for methodology, process, documentation management on projects, and also Planner, which is a plans, risk, issue, costing, change management type tool. We won't cover for both of these we'll cover the simpler sort of aspects of them, but they are both completely free forever. You can download and use them, and you can do that from this link here. I'm also going to put a card up here to enable you to click on and download those as well. You need to sign up for the registration form, and in fact let me just show you that. So you'll come here to our registration page on the website. You'll fill in the form with your email address, and then the word verification, and we'll then give you a link which you can download to install the tools on your machine. we're going to cover that actually at the beginning of the next session. So this is just if you want to go away and try it now, then by all means do, but we'll be covering it in detail next time. So thank you very much for watching through this session, and like I say, the next one on starting up your project will be coming along shortly. Thank you.